So I married a man just to make this point.
You just want to live your life. You just want to be left alone. You want to have the same exact rights as everybody else. And there's nothing, absolutely nothing wrong with that, George. I agree.
You're fundamentally misreading what religion is.
So I brought props.
Obviously.
I brought props.
I love this guy.
About homosexuality.
Every pastor in this country is probably wearing shit made out of mixed fabrics.
I see a lot of people that are in your exact same situation that do not want to be associated with the LGBTQ plus minus divided by sign.
Wait till I show you my cock.
Somebody in the comments roast him for that.
Make people believe in something, and let's create a form of government. I don't believe in the book. The book was written by man. And welcome back to the Madhouse Show. This is episode 5. If you have watched episode 4, you'll realize that we have the same exact panel. We have...
we're back again.
Mark St. George over here to the left. I mean, it's so weird because, like, that's the left.
Don't confuse people.
Okay.
This gets down a rabbit hole.
To the left. That's Mark St. George over to the left. We have Luke Kuhlenberg over here at my left.
How's it going?
And we have James over here to my right. We have Steve Vogt over here to my right. And we have Christopher Sudlick over here to my right. So, thank you very much for joining us, guys. And we are getting into the LGBTQ plus controversy and religion. So I want to go ahead and just call out the elephant in the room. Thank you so much, James, for being here. I appreciate it.
Dang.
I hate it.
Son of a bitch. What are we even implying?
This motherfucker's wearing a dress.
This distinctly rings of profiling. I just want to say.
I'm not going to lie. I mean, all of a sudden, I've got to pee. I'll be back.
Oh, no, I just had to. I'm sorry.
Buckle up, Buttercup. Fuck that shit.
Let's go.
So anyway, guys, all right, first question here. Let's start off with talking about gay marriage. Should it be legal, and how would society benefit if gay marriage was not legal? So let me go ahead and let me start with Topher over here. I started with George last time. Topher, what do you think?
Of course,
take
gay
the
marriage
reins
should
on
be
this.
illegal, bro.
Yeah, I agree.
Anybody should be able to marry if they want to marry, as long as it's consensual between adults, whatever your thing is. And I mean, I think we should have more flexible rules for families because people are living a lot of different lifestyles, but as long as they're capable of living well, we should respect their relationships however they are, as long as they're consenting relationships between adults.
I believe completely.
Yeah.
I'd have to agree. Is there anyone that doesn't?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
This guy.
Where did that come from?
So I married a man just to make this point.
Oh, man.
So I do take in the last episode I gave Joe shit, and I don't see any reason to stop.
Please don't.
So first of all, Stevie is our engineer behind the scenes. Steve, I'm gonna need your Thank you, Steve. Wave to the camera. Let the folks know that you're live. Thank you. I'm gonna need your cooperation here. I want you to go to my shot, just real quick. Ladies and gentlemen, take notice of the microphone. Now, please go to our host, Joe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Now, someone is compensating for something, and I don't know quite what. I just want to point that out. But anyways,
Fallacies.
so
Was that in your notes, for Christ's sake, to
No,
say that? I mean, have you been making notes just to defile me?
I have a whole
top of it.
booklet of just anti-Joe shit. It's crazy.
It's a small novella,
So-
really.
I was I think he had that in the gun. cocked and ready.
That's what he was tripping over earlier.
He planned it.
I had the James comment in the gun cocked and ready, just for fairness.
So I would say that I don't know if anyone on this
At least
panel.
I'm getting called James.
I hope someone on this panel actually does disagree with gay marriage, but let's pretend it's we have.
I really don't think anybody here is going to.
Okay, well, fair enough. But there are certainly people in your audience who do.
Yeah.
So I would say that it's better than if you yourself, or I'm trying to talk to the camera. If you yourself are asking yourself this question, thank you for the cue. It shouldn't be. Should it be legal? It is legal. Okay. So the question is, how would society benefit from discrimination? That is simply the question to ask. because no gay person is asking for anything more than no gay person within reason is asking for anything more than just straight equality. The same rights, not better rights.
Gay equality,
not,
but
Yes.
well, it's more fabulous. But the thing is,
Representation.
it's fabulous and it sparkles. But the thing is, no one is wanting your church to instill gay marriages upon it. No one wants that. No one within reason wants that. I couldn't care less. Most gay people couldn't care less. What we want is the ability to see each other in hospitals, to put each other on each other's health care. These are civil rights. And if you were asking yourself, should it be legal, you're asking yourself, should we discriminate against a separate portion of society because they are a minority or because you believe that they are somehow doomed to hellfire and whatnot? Should we discriminate against them? So that was my only umbrage with the question itself. It is legal. So to say, should it be legal, and if it wasn't, would it be, or if it benefits, well, it is. It is. It is a thing.
Absolutely, yeah.
It is an absolute as of now, until Clarence Thomas has his way. So I throw it at the panel.
do you think he'll throw out his own marriage in the process?
No, because hypocrites never see themselves. So I have a feeling my friend across from me, go to the wide shot. I have a feeling.
Says the producer over here.
Sorry, I used to be a director. So I have a feeling that my friend across from me will know the answer to this question. When was interracial marriage legalized in the state of Missouri?
In the state of Missouri?
Yes, sir. And in most,
I actually don't know.
1967.
67.
So I happen to be married. I don't want to shock anyone at home. Please sit down in case you're not. I am married to an African American man.
A beautiful one at that. Let me say that.
He's the most handsome man on
is
earth.
fabulous.
And
He kind of made me rethink my manhood and everything else. He's so
Your
gorgeous.
sexuality.
Yeah, my sexuality. That would be it. Yeah.
Look, you've questioned mine, and look, we're 6 years apart. He constantly tells me that I've stolen his best years. I would tend to agree with that. But the thing is, I do not want you to agree with it. I don't want anyone to have to agree with it. No one should be forced to agree with it. You should, because it is the moral and ethical thing to do, is to agree with it. But no one should be forced to. But you shouldn't be upset that there are gay people, because the only real answer to this question is get rid of gay people. That is it. And I will just throw on this. For the benefit of the audience. I come from a very Catholic upbringing. I was taught very early on, this is wrong. This is beyond wrong. This is damnable. I mean, I have an eternity of hellfire awaiting me. This isn't a good proposition, right?
I seen it.
So Steve is my best friend on earth. I love him. Wide shot. Steve across from me, beer, best friend on earth. I told him I came out at 30. I told him I was gay. He said, George, we all knew.
You told me you were gay in high school and then
true.
recanted to try to make yourself better.
I tried to not be gay.
Just to come back
I
out
tried
at
to not
30
be
and
gay.
say, yeah, it turns out I wasn't lying.
And the problem with it is that it is impossible to tell yourself that being lonely is okay, and it's not. Everyone deserves someone. Everyone deserves someone to come home to. So just think of these things.
I feel that. I feel that 100%.
Man, that's
What I think
That's
the
real
problem
shit.
is with today's modern pop culture is that it's not so much that people want to see marriages upended. They just want it to exist in private and not be talked about because they're afraid that it may influence the subculture. It may influence their children, and it may
fuck their fears,
it may
man.
create something that they are afraid of, which is transgenderism and
Get over it.
homosexuality.
So homosexuality exists in human beings at the same rate it exists with most mammals, 8 to 10%. So this is just what it is. So we said before the cameras were rolling, because we're kinky like that, that all gay people or lesbian people or what have you on the spectrum, right? All of them are the byproducts of a biological straight union. They are simply stated.
That's how biology works.
That's how, and the fact is, it has to be that way. 92 to 90% of the population has to be straight, or else a species does not propagate. It does not go on to be a species.
But that is the fear.
Science.
Are you
So-
going to spread
Science,
it? Is this
bitches.
the
It is not-
end of time?
so this
Science.
is what, okay, so
somebody So that's how it works. I've been doing it wrong. This
Yeah,
whole
right.
time.
This whole time, James. The
If
whole
you're
time.
afraid of catching the gay, you
Damn it.
might already have it, bro.
I agree with that.
Somebody show me how to tie my shoes.
I don't know.
I totally agree with that, but so
I use
I'm
Velcro.
coming from a space where I am surrounded almost primarily in my day-to-day workplace with people who have this view that it is just so much wider spread today that you can see it everywhere you look, that every commercial, every pamphlet, everything you're looking at is that. And
I
they
think
are
that's companies
pushing
trying to monetize
and-
on it, by the way.
I
agenda.
think that's
Yes.
exactly what that is.
Yeah, that's
Well,
all
it
part of that
definitely is.
woke shit.
And I wish I could convince people that that was the case. But to
capitalism.
be real, I have a person around me whose church is telling them that this is how it goes. This is the agenda of Satan, right?
It is.
Satan comes in and he turns all of the people homosexual. Then they can't procreate anymore. So then we lose. That's the devil coming and ending society.
So then has
that
the
is the
devil
preaching.
so has the devil
That's just crazy.
It's wild.
now what's the word I'm looking for here? Has the devil got to the Vatican?
This dude came prepared.
Yeah, I was going to say, wow, we have
for
pamphlets
real.
and everything.
Like has the dude
Yeah.
like has the devil came to the Vatican because the Pope did say that it's okay to be gay and you'll still go to heaven.
The Pope has said that, and yes, but that the Pope
So
is
it's the-
Orthodox Catholicism, and Orthodox Catholicism does not exist heavily in the United States. There's a large population of them, but we're white Anglo-Saxon. White
Protestant.
Anglo-Saxon Protestants. This is a Protestant-run country, so what the Pope says means dick.
Well,
to
okay,
Christians.
so all right, so which branch of the Christian tree are we supposed to fucking ride up here?
Okay,
Correct.
so this is why
yeah, that's what I would love
this,
somebody to answer, but every one of them says theirs.
This is why Christianity and all ideology, let's have some arguments, folks, is
Oh, come
wrong.
on, I got you for
is
that.
wrong. It is wrong to adhere to ideology over facts and common sense. It is wrong. So I brought props.
Obviously.
I brought props.
see
I love
that.
this guy.
I see that.
I
God
love
damn.
this guy.
That
He's
looks
got-
like-
Wait
Yeah,
till
no.
I show you my cock. No, look, here's
shit.
the thing. It's,
How in the hell did you sneak a chicken
Is
in
that
here?
are those, so I have to guess, is that
Tar and feather it.
Is that LDS? Is that Jehovah's Witness? Or
so you
a
cannot.
third evangelical?
So, is there anyone on the panel? This is a fair comment because when you're in argumentation on religion, you need to set ground basis. Okay. Is there anyone on this panel, and be honest, because you're not going to have condemnation, who believes in biblical inerrancy, meaning that that the Bible is the inerrant
Word of God.
Word of God. That that nothing in the Bible is incorrect.
There's
Is
a
there
couple
anyone-
of people I would like
No.
to have that I did not have tonight, but no, unfortunately,
No,
on this
I-
panel, I don't think so.
I think it was written by a man, dude, so therefore it's flawed, bro.
Thank you. I agree with that as well.
So-
Took
Is
the word
anybody
right out of
okay?
my
So
mouth.
is anybody in here practicing in any denomination?
I was at Catholic Mass today.
Negative.
So I'm not a practicing Catholic, but Joe happens to live down the
born-
street from my mom's
born
Catholic
and
church.
what are you,
raised
virtue signaling? I asked if anybody was
It was-
practicing. What does that even mean?
It was the
He was.
strangest thing. It was the strangest thing to attend a Catholic Mass and not believe. It really is.
It's almost like being in a
Because
cult.
I've done it a number of times.
You see, and
Yeah,
by the way,
it's a very
I
different
was-
thing. When it isn't, so growing up indoctrinized by a religion, I grew up absolutely believing it. We had special places where we went as kids so
I
they could
myself-
teach us at a child level.
Sure,
And
I myself am a confirmed Catholic, and I grew up and I got confirmed.
When did
I-
you stop believing it?
Before I was confirmed.
When he-
I got confirmed for my great grandmother, and my mom pretty much forced me to get confirmed, and then she pretty much signed off on my PSR homework saying that I did it, which I did not. So
Parish
I
School of Religion is a
already
school teaching-
denounced before I was even confirmed, and I did that for my great grandmother, and God rest her soul, if there is a God.
there isn't.
So I don't know who's watching this, but I don't know that everyone knows what PSR is.
And Joe stopped being
Public
a Catholic.
school religion.
Joe stopped being a Catholic when he hit the age of reason. That's when most people do. So I just want to show the audience at home. So I worked for it. I think perhaps I am the only gay atheist television director in the history of televangelism. I worked for one of
somebody in the
nation's-
comments roast him for that.
Is there a belt for that?
There is a special circle of hell
Somebody,
for me.
if anybody's watching
Okay.
this
Sure
and
there
thinks
is.
he's full of
So
shit,
I just want you
Please.
to know that when you want Christianity to be a matter of public affair and politics, know what you're asking for. So things like this, little pamphlets left out by the JTC group. And some tell you you're going to hell for dressing up your kid during Halloween. Some tell you you're going to hell for partying too much. And this one's about someone on the Titanic who said, "Fie upon you, God. This ship is unsinkable." I think he says something very akin to that. But look at what one of these says. Are Roman Catholics Christian? Keep this in mind. Please keep this in mind, that just because there is a reason we have denominations. Steve brought it up earlier. It was a fine point. It was a great point. Why do we have Mormons? Why do we have Jehovah's Witnesses? Why do we have Catholics? Why do we have Protestants? Why do we have Baptists? Why do we have Unitarians? Why? It's the same fucking book, folks. I mean, it's 66 books for the Protestants. It's 7 more for the Catholics, but it's the same fucking literature because interpretation. And I'll throw to the panel on this. So one of the best academics upon this is Robert Stamm. And Stamm, in both his introduction to film criticism and Beyond Fidelity, says that you cannot have true fidelity. Modern hermeneutics says this too. You presuppose upon any text you read your own prejudice. You cannot help it. You cannot help it. You have your own horizon. The author has his own horizon. This is called author intent. Modern hermeneutics, because it's postmodern, rejects this. But the point is, when you point to biblical, and I'll stop here, when you point to fundamentalism and biblical literalism, you are only pointing to your own interpretation of that text, nothing more.
Sure.
And therefore, how can this thing possibly be holy? How can a creator God, maybe this is the question I'll throw out. Sorry, Joe. Sorry, Joe.
You're continuing.
How can a perfect God, and omnibenevolent, and omniscient creator of the world, who knows everything, is all loving, all forgiving, all knowing, how can he create a system where the only access we have to him is this book that is so open to human interpretation that the whole reason we have an issue in Israel right now, in Lebanon and Iran, is because God has promised a set of land to 2 separate people, and we can't get them to agree differently. It's religion. It's ideology.
Oh, I can take this.
Man needs to break free
say,
from ideology, including communism. Go ahead.
And what I will say about this is that you're,
Thank you, George. I
you're
agree.
fundamentally misreading what religion is. Religion isn't a book. Religion isn't people's interpretation of a book. What a religion is it's a culture of people that are maintaining a way of life through deliberate practice and a narrative. And that narrative is maintained through their deliberate practice, through their rituals, through their ceremonies, and through their social interactions.
Okay.
And all of this exists in the context of their communities, right? So these are cultures that live and die on participation and
So
on
they
the strength
impose,
of participation.
Correct. They impose
Well, they're
they
not just
impose their
imposed.
narratology upon the population is
And
exactly what you're saying.
They don't just impose; they're part of a population, and that population reimposes upon that.
I don't think
religion.
the gay guy getting stoned in
No, you're
Iraq
right.
is agreeing with you.
Well, I'm saying it's more complicated than what you're making it out to be. These aren't just stories, right?
Probably
so,
too
like
busy bobbing and
for most of Christian history, being gay was not that big of a deal. I mean, it might have been technically a big deal in the Bible.
I
know,
disagree
the Romans
with that
really
completely.
embraced
You have to give me some evidence of that.
For about 1,500 years.
Nowhere in the Bible does it
It's
condone
not about what's in the
homosexuality.
Bible. For about 1,500 years, nowhere in the Bible does it condone wearing
And before
fabrics
people
of
could
mixed
read the
cloth,
Bible,
but
where did they get
every-
their information? They got it from the Catholic Church, who repudiated homosexuality.
Every pastor in this country is probably wearing shit made out of mixed fabrics. Okay,
Yeah,
just because
different
Leviticus
sects
says
of
it
the
doesn't mean
religion.
it's a big deal. What's
Yeah,
a
little
big
boys'
deal is
fingers.
what the culture decides is a big deal. And for about 1,800 years, culture was not deciding that being gay was a big deal. Now, trans people go back about 8,000 years in our history. We can find records of them. And we can also find records of animals behaving opposite of their gender roles. You know, you can find the lioness who's leading the fucking pack occasionally. These things happen. People and animals play separate roles. They are flexible. They adapt to their surroundings and they live how they live. You know,
Apparently, Topher's right.
Topher's
we're
right.
getting the
Apparently,
thumb.
Topher's
Well,
right.
sadly, the thumbs up is
all of
incorrect.
this is a matter of cultures, right? So some of these cultures are enormously shitty to gay people and to trans people, and they've built this around patriarchy, and they've built
Why?
this system of patriarchy specifically around changing our social structures. So in the 1500s,
I
we
feel you're
destroyed
arguing
the.
for my point, not
Yeah,
yours.
in the 1500s, I'm not too far from your point.
No.
But in the 1500s, we destroyed the clan system. That was how people kind of had their social feedbacks. You know, you didn't go to government for most problems. You had your clan. You know, you had the Romulans and the Capulets or whatever from Romeo and Juliet. I
didn't know you knew your
Capulets?
Shakespeare. I was just gonna say that.
Capulets?
I think I was halfway between Star Trek, fucking
Yeah, Romulans.
Yeah, Romulus is totally Star Trek.
The
And then you had
Montagues,
Capulets, yeah.
the Montagues,
There you go.
and the
You're-
Capulets.
There you
That's
go.
who you're looking for.
Look at
got-
the big
so
brain
we
over
broke,
here,
We broke
bro.
down the clan system and all of that structure of how people supported each other, all the feedbacks, all of these systems of hierarchy that were between us and government disappeared.
So
in the advent of capitalism, and part of this was the Enclosure Acts was funneling people from rural areas in their tribal groups into cities where they would be urbanized, where they would be devoid of community, where they would be broken. And in the 1950s, we suburbanized, we broke community again. But in this whole time, we have used patriarchy. We've used this idea of very rigid gender roles and very rigid sexualities as a tool to keep people reproducing and to keep them making more workers that can keep the factories populated, because
we need
these
it for the-
factories were burning through people like nothing before.
As a species, it has
they pushed
to
the
exist
culture
for
of
procreation.
churches to cherry pick these specific things instead of other things. If it was the fashion industry that was the biggest influence, instead we might have had a lot bigger focus on those mixed fabrics.
So I agree with you.
You know.
So not to monopolize, but I agree with you, and I fundamentally disagree with you. So narratology, of course,
So, as Charlie Kirk would say, we have clarity but not agreement.
is perfectly fine.
Or it's a Walt's Vance debate.
Look. I need no opinion but my own. Majority consensus is you should never find refuge there.
Damn,
so-
making all that noise.
So, well, look, someone's got to drown me out. So I agree totally. You are 100% correct when you talk about the culture of narratology and how religion sustains not just a religio-political or more philosophical standpoint, but a culture as whole and a history as whole. After all, history is not the past. People get this confused. We don't have history. No one on this panel can bring you back to a previous year.
Right.
That's the past. The past is gone.
It's dead.
History is our.
It's written by the winners.
History is true. Very true.
And
History
I can
is
make
the
some
way-
pouty eyes and make you feel white guilt.
You certainly don't have to.
You can definitely give him white guilt, I
I'm married
promise.
to an African American man.
He's on white guilt every
trust
weekend.
Me, trust me, it's 24/7.
He is the reason it's this bad.
Okay, so I was just I'm going to disagree. I'll throw a drug, and then I'll stop talking, guys, a little bit, so you guys. Can
No,
get it,
you're
'cause
fine,
I feel
brother.
like
Go
I'm-
ahead.
I don't want to.
Do you think?
He's good.
But because I think there's a lot of agreement, and what you said certainly is true. But I just feel like there's something more pressing here. But someone went pee.
Well, now that I got it
that's fine.
closer,
That's
you
what
should
I was
probably
saying.
like
Did you
talk
wanna
into
wait
it.
Oh,
Yeah,
check, I hear myself.
There we
There
go.
you go.
There we
Perfect.
go.
Oh, I didn't go
Perfect.
closer.
Yeah, it's a little better. Thank
Yeah,
you.
please get closer to it.
Thank you. I'd love to get closer to all of it.
Yeah, come on.
Now you got a wonky extra cable head.
Oh,
That was a thumbs down. That was a thumbs down. I've never seen a thumbs down.
What was that?
Nobody
that
That was
was-
the
That motherfucker
the
knew
first-
you were lying, bro.
Dude, that was the first thumbs down I've seen. That was the first one.
Wow.
Nobody quite knows how that works,
We
but it
gotta log
does
that.
somehow.
But yeah, dude, that's the first
Yeah,
thumbs
that's
down.
that's the first
I
thumbs
think we might have
down.
seen one thumbs down before. Maybe not.
one
No?
fucking
On the
Did
live
they?
stream, on the
I
live
don't
stream, we had
remember
a
it.
So
couple.
for you, remember a thumbs
Can you
down?
imagine?
Yeah, but I don't remember what it was for.
On the live stream, we had a couple thumbs downs, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we were pretty drunk.
But
that
I
night.
don't
Yeah,
know
the
if those
live
were
stream was
viewers
shit.
or what.
I mean, you guys were. I was
Well,
good.
yeah, I was
I actually did better on the live stream, I believe. You fucking showed up a little half cocked. I know that much because
No,
I'm like, oh,
I
shit.
got
Like,
full
I'm just
cocked
saying
here.
somebody.
James with those 40s, man.
I like to be full cocked. Okay, so I had said earlier that I thought you raised a variety of very good points, but I think fundamentally we do disagree. By the way, it's sure we weren't on a wide shot. If you go to wide shot, and a very impressive cloud of smoke just emanated from him, which was like that's just like a mic drop, sort of like "fuck you, man." I know what I'm talking about. So see that
And
shit, man? I got
flex
nothing.
again.
I got nothing that beats that. Nothing that trumps that, right?
Oh man, the
Okay.
table is
It's
foggy.
so-
Look at
It's a
that.
portable fog machine. It's all right.
So
we're good. He's just fogging it
narratology
out.
is dangerous, and it goes beyond it. So it's not even a meme; it's a memeplex, as defined by Susan Blackwell. So it's complex, right? So it's not. So I agree. I totally agree with you. I wasn't trying to define it by one aspect, but I am trying to. But in a way, I am trying to define it by its most dangerous. So the fact of the matter is that it's been said that if you, given the natural state of things, if you can expect a good person to do good things, and you can expect a bad person to do bad things. But if you want a good person to do a bad thing, that takes religion. Okay, so
That's that's heavy, dude. That's really heavy.
Damn, that went dark real quick.
So, and I will say, so it affects collective consciousness. So John is the last gospel, not the last book. Forgive me. John is the last gospel written in the New Testament, probably 95 to 115 CE, right? Okay. So it was written by a Johannine community. There are much evidence of seams and edits, so it was multiple authors, right? So in John 8, there is a beautiful story. Bart Ehrman points this out, that even in the movie, it's in every Jesus movie. So even in The Passion of the Christ, a movie just about the last 12 hours of Jesus' life, they somehow shoehorn this fucking story in, right? And it's the one we're all familiar with, which is the woman taken into adultery. So in John, Jesus is constantly being put to the test. Pharisees and Sadducees are constantly coming up and saying, kind of testing him, trying to back Jesus into a corner. And of course, it's a gospel, so Jesus always gets out of it. In this particular case, a woman who is convicted of adultery is brought before Jesus. And the Pharisees say to him, what are we to do with this woman? And they know they're trapping Jesus. They know they're doing this. Because if Jesus says, kill this woman, he is going against his own moral teachings. But if he doesn't say kill this woman, he is denying the Torah. Okay? And of course, John says he transcends the Torah. But anyways, a moot point. So Jesus writes something in the sand. The authors of John do not tell us what. Maybe it was a recipe. We don't know. One by one, and he says the very famous quotable line. We all know it. He who is without sin cast the first stone. Correct? Okay. One by one, the people disperse till there is none left except Jesus and the woman. Jesus turns to the woman. He says, is there anyone left who condemns you? And the woman says, no, my Lord. And Jesus says, neither do I. Go and sin no more. What a beautiful story. full of pathos, full of logic, full of human kindness. It didn't appear in the Bible until the 8th century. It is not original to John.
Where's it go dark? Where's it go
It
dark?
is not original
there.
to John.
Yeah, it's not original to John.
It is not part. It was
just
a
right
sermon added to the margins that eventually got incorporated into the manuscript tradition. The Catholics use the Alexandrian tradition. The Protestants use the Palestinian. But it's dangerous. And I say it again. The only reason, I'll throw to you and the entire panel, the only reason we have the issue in Gaza now is because of religion. Because logic and reason cannot win over when religion is there.
Sure, I don't think religion's the cause of the conflict there at all.
I do.
Well, I think that's a pretty interesting thing
that's
to
100%.
say on its face.
I mean, they've been fighting that. They've been fighting
Probably
for
money
that for
at this
thousands
point.
of years, bro.
So from 1000 to 1917, it was the most peaceful place on earth for a Jewish person to exist, Palestine, and that was under the Ottoman Empire. It was a time of relative peace, especially compared to Europe, that was full of anti-Semitism and violence.
What's a big ass
This is a very different, very different world, right? So, what happened was in the 1870s, a group got together and they formed this ideology of settler colonialism. They said, we're going to form a settler colony for the British people that are Jewish in the Levant, in Palestine. And that's what they did. They started going there and they started settling there. And they started adapting the tactics of the KKK and of the other settler colonies in apartheid South Africa and from the U.S. And they took this model from Manifest Destiny, from Hitler's Lebensraum, and they built it into a nation. Over the course of decades of terrorism and pushing people out, they established a nation upon a nation that was already there. And through decades and decades of pushing people out and keeping people in prison to a greater and greater degree, they've given people no choice but to fight back. I mean, in 2023,
what did you say in the beginning? Why were they there?
They came here to settle.
Because they were Jews, right?
He got you.
Religion.
Sure. So
Because they were Jews.
Well,
and they
that's-
weren't, as you say, they weren't welcomed in Europe. They were fucking being killed by
that's
the
an
millions.
arbitrary excuse, though. You could have picked
No,
any
it's
excuse.
not.
They
No, it's
are.
not.
They
Religion
are.
is the
okay,
cause.
so the
So
human
if they'd done this in Montana, would it have been better?
Semitic. Okay, so
No, it'd been the same war.
Yeah, it would have been the same thing, just
And
over
it still
different
would have
rock.
been. It still would have been about religion at that point, you know.
the Human Genome
It's
Project.
still about settler colonialism. Religion is just the excuse.
Religion is the excuse
it's the
people use to
fuel.
murder. Religion is the
It's the
excuse
fuel.
for 9/11, and it is the fuel.
It's the fuel.
It is the fuel.
Jesus.
Can I add something here?
Man, no, 9/11 was.
Can I add something here?
Okay, so
Hold on, guys. Hold on. I'd like to hear Luke talk because I haven't heard Luke talk too much.
Jewish.
So,
Okay, so like
you'd like to add?
more people died that's under the name of God than anything else.
correct.
I agree. Yeah.
You were
It's
right.
definitely
that's
the highest
whether it's
cause of
money,
death over
that-
heart disease.
Well, actually, the
and diabetes.
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 We
Well,
talking about
actually-
worldly or just in America? Because Jesus Christ.
well, I mean, because
Oh,
the biggest cause of death is life. So
Yeah, number one, oxygen seems to kill everybody.
well, I mean, if you didn't live, you wouldn't die. But I digress. So yeah, I mean, they've been fighting over that chunk of dirt for thousands of years, bro. I mean, does it matter? That's if somebody ascended from the middle of the rock or whoever was. Whatever the fuck Catholics believe, I don't fucking know. I don't
No
care.
one. Not even the
You
Pope
know.
does. Trust me.
Right,
The
you know what I'm
Catholics don't
saying? But, I
either.
mean, but it doesn't matter, dude.
Oh, the Catholics.
I mean,
know.
it's just something for
long
people to fight
conversation.
because humans are a combative species.
And Travis, are
we are the
are we-
only species that's on this fucking planet that can self-annihilate.
Well, yeah, sure.
And are we?
That's it.
Aren't we? Shouldn't we take people at their word?
No.
When people no, no,
Never.
no.
Actions.
Hold on though.
I totally believe car salesman.
When people,
Actions, not words.
you cannot. If you are looking at a fundamentalist, I know we're trying to. It is fun, but if you're looking at a fundamentalist who is a suicide bomber, this is not someone who's glab or flib about this. Okay. And it's 100% of suicide bombing is religious oriented. 100%.
Would you say that about those?
I'm very anti-religion, just for the record.
I would say that about
Kamikaze-
Ireland. I would say that about every. Yes.
kamikaze bombers. And
Okay, yeah.
Yes, because the misnomer is that the Japanese that they were an atheist society. They weren't. They worshipped
I know.
the emperor.
Yeah.
He is a god.
'Cause
He
the
spoke
emperor-
he spoke a different type of Japanese, so that when they did surrender, and he announced over radio, his Japanese, it was called Imperial Japanese. His Japanese was so different than the common person's Japanese that people in Japan could not understand a fucking word he said.
yeah.
That's how much of a god he was. So to say it was atheistic is a complete misnomer.
Yeah, he
that
was-
was.
he
Let me
he
go
was a
ahead.
living
And,
God.
Let me go ahead and segue this really quick because honestly, like that was question one, and this is how fucking heated we are on question one. So. I want to segue into question number two, right?
How can you at this point?
Exactly. I mean,
We made it impossible, Joe.
absolutely.
Get there. Let's
So,
do it.
question one. Question one could have defined the whole premise of this whole damn episode, and it damn near did. But I want to segue into question number two, and I want to do that by saying so. I've definitely, in the last week, preparing for this and everything else, and just something I'm generally curious about, LGBTQ LGBTQ
IA
plus.
IA plus.
Is there IA? Is there also IA plus?
Intergender and
Because I know, like Shapiro, I listen to a lot of him, and it's like LGBTQ plus minus divided sign, blah 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 blah. I'm not trying to be an asshole about that, but yeah, it's the alphabet gang, what you would call it,
I mean,
right?
we can go through it. It takes a second. That's
identity.
bisexuals, and then the last one is for intersex people who have been discriminated against by our system for a long time. A lot of them are assigned a gender at birth, and they're surgically altered to match society's expectations against their will.
Okay. All right. So there's a lot there, right? And so I want to just talk about that a little bit, right? So we have this, right? There has been assumptions from what I've studied, looked up, and researched a little bit. Like, it is almost like the LGBTQ plus. I'm just going to call it that because I won't remember the other ones. But we'll say that it's almost a religion in itself because of the way these people ask. And you would say no. You would say no.
Because what you were assuming is, okay, so I'm sorry. I feel like this conversation has been too heavily George, and maybe I should stop. But I hate pride. I am a gay man. I hate the word pride. I hate pride celebrations. I hate pride had a place and time. It was needed. I don't like it anymore.
In the 80s,
Sure,
when they had
and that's exactly.
Here's why. Okay.
That's exactly what we're about to segue into.
Right. Oh, do you want me to stop and let you go?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. So basically, it's just as simple as this, right? I've been researching, and I found a lot of people that would just really prefer it just to be LGB. And then the TQ plus minus divided sign, like just not, you get on your own thing. As far as people I've researched. And I'd like to play a little clip here. This is a person that I've found. Her name is, her YouTube channel is called Finding Sky. So you can research her. She's got about 14 videos or so. They got a lot of hits. She makes a lot of points. And I really liked a lot of the points that she said. So Stevie, if you don't mind, can you play clip 4 for me, Finding Sky?
My distaste may come as a surprise to some people, considering I'm actually a part of the LGBT community. In case you haven't noticed from my endless references to titties and busty Latinas in the past 10 videos, I like hot chicks. This is not a coming out video. I mean, it's pretty obvious. I don't need a rainbow flag and a teary-eyed video confessing the fact that I like big butts and I cannot lie, but it may be interesting to hear that I'm actually extremely ashamed to be a part of this community. And look, I know we've come a long way. There was a period of time when anyone who wasn't heterosexual was scrutinized or in severe cases even killed. And as glad as I am that I can walk down the street holding a girl's hand and not face the scrutiny, I also feel like we've passed the point of acceptance and are now at the point of blatant indoctrination. Someone has to say it. These pride parades have gotten disgusting. It's not even about acceptance anymore. It's a provocative and aggressive public display of hypersexuality and fetish. What was supposed to be an accepting and innocent space has turned into a hostile freak show. I didn't go to Pride, never will, unless it's to document the absurdity of it, but this is what LGBT is associated with now. It's no longer associated with peace, love, unity, and tolerance. Instead, it's associated with hypersexualization, provocation, fetish, and bigotry. I don't know what happened to the days when we would encourage people to accept themselves and make peace with those who disagree with us, because now we just scream obscenities at anyone even whispering a subtle argument. This community has managed to weaponize its own labels and use them unfairly, not hesitating to label any opposition as transphobic or homophobic. It's funny because we used to be the ones complaining about intolerance. Two girls holding hands in public were at risk of being fucking shot. They couldn't adopt kids, get married, start a family, so I completely understand why we spent so many years fighting for tolerance. But we have it now. And ever since we've been shown tolerance, we're now the ones refusing to reciprocate it. We've now become the side that is intolerant to opposing beliefs.
So I just want to say, I personally know a couple of people that agree with that stance very hard. And I'm not gay, but I do agree with that. Well,
what about with the thing we did last night?
Only
what
on
do you call that?
Only on Saturdays, and tonight is Saturday, my friend. So what are you doing?
Hey, no wonder you
Sexuality needs
no
no
wonder you
label.
didn't answer.
I'll fuck your harder next time.
Shit.
You're tilting
What was the
in
video
windmills.
I got?
Just saying.
Okay, right. What was it?
What did I
nothing to
just
you?
watch?
Hold on, guys. Hold on.
Paradise
hold
to
on.
me.
I just
I'm just saying, I staunchly agree with that person. I think she hit the nail on the head with a lot of these issues, and I think just being a gay person, and since then, there's not. I can't really think of the ones to cite, but I've watched a couple other YouTubes, subscribed to a couple other YouTubes. Yeah, there's a lot of gay people that are just gay or lesbians or bisexual that feel the same way. It's not just her. There's plenty of a big movement of people that feel the same way. They're kind of like, okay, there's the LGB and then there's the TQ. And it even goes further and further. I've seen these pride parades where these people are saying, your children, your children, your children. And that was the one I just recently watched. And I didn't pull that clip or whatever, but it was a gay black man just stating how disgusting it was that the pride parades and all this are actually focusing on children. And it's disgusting.
You're tilting at windmills, man.
I'm tilting at windmills.
Yeah.
How so?
And pissing in the wind.
Yeah, I think the only
So like I'm saying the Don Quixote stuff.
My
where
main
he's-
point basically is saying that
the windmills are monsters, and they're not. They're just something there. The thing is, pride, as we know it, is immensely corporate. Okay, so like the
Sure,
communists
yes.
don't go to the corporate pride. There's a separate pride that they hold that's much smaller and much different.
people don't know about it. Otherwise, they
No,
would revolt.
it is actually fairly large. It is actually fairly large. But like cops also march at Pride, and Pride was originally a celebration of the Stonewall riots when bricks were thrown at cops. You don't have cops at Pride if it's about gay rights. If it's about gay liberation, you don't have cops there. You don't have cops dancing and marching in the parade. That goes against the entire ethos and the entire point of it, which is to acknowledge what happened when cops were harassing transgender people and accusing them of prostitution and harassing them and raping them and doing all this fucking shit that was so awful, you know? Yeah. And Stonewall was a riot. So when we look at these pride fests, they're immensely corporatized. These are all corporations doing shit, making a bunch of money off of this, just like the commercials, just like everything else. You know, they say DEI is all about equality. It's not about equality. It's about the fact that somebody did a study like a decade ago that showed that the more diverse your team is, the more it's going to find out-of-the-box solutions, the smaller a team you can use and get more optimal and high-efficiency results. So all the corporations were like, we're going to make our teams as diverse as possible. They weren't trying to match their demographics to that of society and to the spread of people and industry. They were maximizing
There's a lot
their
of thumbs up
profits.
going on
Topher,
here.
you're
on fire, but
Topher, you just got like 4 fucking likes.
Yeah, so like, in this hatred of this corporate pride is being weaponized against trans people. It's being weaponized against queer people, and it's being.
And I
weaponized
certainly don't mean to do so when I bring this up.
But
I
that's
don't.
absolutely what's been happening. I mean, you're just a microcosm of what's a
Well,
larger sentiment.
there's
So,
a
like,
chick at the bar that I go to that feels staunchly the same exact way that the chick I just showed you, that Finding
I'm
Sky
sure
chick.
there's
She's
plenty
pretty
that
much
feel this way.
exactly a replica of her. She hates the LGBTQ plus minus
the divide
whatever.
and conquer mindset is powerful. It's immensely powerful. That's what all of the
She
rich
just
people
doesn't want to be associated with it. And as simple as said, it's all that. As simple as said, there's a gay community, and I feel, and I don't mean to speak for you, George, and I'll have you speak just in a second, but kind of what you said in the current episode, you just want to live your life. You just want to be left alone. You want to have the same exact rights as everybody else, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But I see a lot of people that are in your exact same situation that do not want to be associated with the LGBTQ plus minus divided by sign. Dare I say that? And I'm sorry if that's discriminatory when I say that, but
it's not at all.
But I just don't.
Maybe to somebody.
I see
it's
that.
not. No. Look, okay. So, first of all, I agree with so many. I have actually no real disagreements. I would actually say it's just worse than what you've said, because the corporate, everything in America we can expect to be, part of a corporation of some sort. But what really gets me is that I, as a gay man, and so many of my people who are like me,
Yeah.
Gay.
Nailed
gay,
it.
yeah,
Gay.
right, no,
Nailed it.
But look,
cool, though. He said it, though, right?
We're making an argument. We're making an argument that we were born this way. This was not a choice.
I love the Lady Gaga song.
No, it's true.
And we born this
So
way.
I fought against it most of my life, and I know that there's a lot of gay people who did too. And eventually, nature wins out, and you give in. Okay, But the thing is, if I am trying to convince someone that this is, who I am, it's who I was born, I didn't choose this. I'm with, pride should be reserved for an accomplishment, for something you do, not who you are. I don't understand Irish pride or Italian pride or gay pride. I don't understand it. I don't. I just don't. And I think it's detrimental against my argument that I'm trying to fucking make, which is I was born this way. I actually tried not to be this way. I failed at that, but I was married, and I do feel for the first time in my life happiness. I don't want to impose that upon you, but how can I make the argument that I'm proud to be gay? I'm proud of my accomplishments. I'm proud to have been, to have 2 documentaries on PBS that went national. I won't go into it, but we all feel pride about our accomplishments.
I scored those.
What we and Joe did the music.
I just want to put this out here.
But every person at this table has pride in what they've accomplished and what they've done. Now that is something to be proud about.
Yeah, all prides matter.
So let me try to drag this back into something that's a little bit different and goes back to the clip that we just watched. The 2 things in there that scare the most people in the biggest way are the 2 statements that she made, and that are hypersexuality and indoctrination.
Yes.
Those 2 things are
Yes.
the big reason why her and the majority of the people that want to stomp down on the LGBTQ community is that hypersexuality means that they don't want to see the sexuality that these people are promoting. They're just fine if it's another sexuality that's being exploited. They're not out there wearing anything different than most women would be wearing at a football game, but it's hypersexuality. And then indoctrination.
Yes.
We can teach somebody to be that way.
Yes.
If somebody young enough were to witness this, they could become this.
I wish I
they've
would
seen
pull.
it.
I wish I would have pulled the videos I watched. Actually, today I believe.
And that's what people are afraid of.
there was a
Her
black
and the
man.
majority
There was a black
are
gay
very
man.
afraid of that.
I forget his name. Forgive me, but there was a black gay man that was basically stating the same things that she was. And it just more in depth. And he
Sure.
actually showed a lot of clips at these places where
I didn't
basically
say only
these
one
people
type of
were
person was afraid
very
of it.
focused on children. And he was just basically saying that this is disgusting.
You're telling
this
me-
is the point that I don't want to be associated with. I'm just a gay man. I'm just a gay man.
I got you. But
Steve,
you're
That's
also
all
telling
he was
me-
trying to say.
You're telling me that it can be taught.
Sexuality can absolutely
It
be
has
taught to
influence.
children at a young age.
It
If
has
you're interested,
No.
hold
So
on.
how did you learn
You
to
cannot
be
make the male
heterosexual?
asshole attractive to someone who isn't gay. I'm
Exactly.
sorry. But,
Sure,
but
sure,
look,
sure.
look,
Hold on,
look.
hold
Okay,
on.
so here, let me admit
But
a
you can
story
make it
that
normal.
will ruin my partnership and my. I'm sorry, Tom. I'm not mentioning what company that we own. Okay, so I was watching
Careful
porn.
now.
I look at porn about, I don't know, maybe like 3-5 times a week. I don't know, somewhere in that range, right?
I mean, about
Just honest, right? And I don't think it's any surprise. It's gay porn, right? Okay, so right. But what happens
Definitely
is,
do.
What happens is I did not
Did
know
you see
about
that coming?
incognito mode. I did not know about
see that
incognito mode.
No, never.
So every
No,
time
I
I
would have
fucking
never
looked
seen
at
that coming.
something to jack off to, it would open a pop-up. The thing about the pop-ups are they are all heterosexual. Okay, so a few weeks back, I hand my phone over to my chief technology officer because he's got to install some shit. He goes into my
great
apps.
story.
There's 35 fucking tabs of big tits. Now I am mortified, not because it's porn. I'll tell everyone who watches I watch porn. No, I'm like, dude. Please know, I wasn't jacking off to tits. Just please know, it was dicks all the way down. Dicks all the way down. But,
veiny, triumphant
I
fucker.
think I just want to piggyback off what Steve is saying because I think it's so important. It is ideology. So this is why I tell my gay friends in the audience, I am supportive of you. I want you to have a normal lifestyle. But the problem is, if I identify with an ideology, like if I say, Joe, I am LGBTQIA+, you automatically, and it's not your fault. It's not your fault. You automatically know what I think about gun rights. You automatically think I know about.
you're
what,
associated with a group that I think a lot of
Exactly. And
just
that's the
gay
problem.
people don't want
That's
to be
the
associated
problem.
with. That's
I
my
am-
whole point.
That is why, if you look at my voter registration card, I am unaffiliated. I tell people no one knows Joe Lieberman anymore, but I say, look, I'm like Joe Lieberman. I'm independent, but I caucus with the Democrats, right? Okay, so
George, can I ask an honest question to you?
honestly, yeah, sure.
Okay,
As
so
long as I
let's say
can- as long as I can drink whiskey.
no, there's plenty more where that came from. All right, so there's LGB.
Globe.
Yeah.
Too many.
LGBT.
Too many. T stands for
Lesbian,
Okay.
transsexual.
gay, bisexual.
Yeah.
I believe that's where LGB is
So,
right there.
all these groups-
No,
And then
first
T.
letters. First letters.
Yes.
LGB. So
They shouldn't be linked.
let's take all the other letters here.
Why not? Why?
How do you feel
Yeah.
about being linked to the other extra letters?
I don't want to be linked to any fucking person on this planet. Okay.
Sure.
I am
He's
so.
this individual
I am
person.
such.
You're an individual person that just happens to be gay.
I believe in Christopher Hitchens,
and he can't
The,
help
the highest standard you can hold yourself to is a contrarian. Period. End of story. To be
Can you please say a contrarian?
is someone who gives two shits about the majority opinion.
Sure.
Who gives two shits?
Okay.
Because no, not even a single one.
So,
Give a shit about the majority opinion.
for the
but I still
record, could I
disagree
just
with
say you'd rather not be roped into that group?
I would not. I wouldn't. I am a human being with divergent opinions, as is every person. And we got to stop in this country. We got to stop being you and me, them and us. That's got to stop
Bingo.
immediately. I am sorry, folks.
I don't care about gender ideology.
I voted for.
Who cares if you want
and
to
by
be
the way,
called something
we've
different?
said her name wrong all night. Kamala. Think of the word comma and then add la. Right?
Kamala.
So Kamala. Right?
Kamala.
I voted for Kamala. I thought it was the best decision to make. Was I
Wasn't
right or
politics the
wrong? I
last
don't know.
one?
I don't know. But I did it.
Well, you lost.
But the thing is, of course,
I'm sorry.
and that's
I'm
what a
sorry. The hat says you're
democratic
wrong.
republic should be. I lost.
Yes.
And what I say is I lost. And I move forward.
But we're not working on politics here.
Well,
I want to
religio-
reel this back.
It
to
all,
where
it
I
all
was
goes
trying
in, but
to
go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm trying to reel this back to where I was. And we talk about, indoctrination, being able to turn somebody some way. I have to ask, Joe, what was it when you were growing up that they taught you, that they showed you, that taught you to be heterosexual? What
I
made you
guess it
know?
would
What
be
made you
average
know?
day to day life. I had
What
a
made you like
mother.
pussy?
Well, I had a mother and a father.
They made you like pussy?
Yeah.
Seriously, I'm being totally honest.
Correct.
That's a little weird.
No,
when you
sir,
say
well,
it like
that was your
telling me.
answer, though.
But that is what you're telling
That's
me.
what you just
I'm
said.
asking who taught you, because it can be taught, right? We can teach somebody to be transgender. We can teach somebody to be homosexual. If we expose them to the right things when they're a child, they can become transgender
you
and
act
homosexual.
you act as if I'm pushing this as a negative thing, and I'm not. I'm just pointing out that
You're
people
certainly
do.
hinting at it.
I know that.
Sure,
That's a huge
absolutely.
fear.
Right.
That's a
I
huge
think
fear.
I think that Finding Sky clip that I played of that
Yeah.
lesbian woman definitely
So the
she
problem-
feels that
But I'm
way.
trying to
Absolutely.
understand where the education is that goes the other direction.
Well, that's easy because like back in the 80s, you had Skinamax, you had the late night fucking HBO series and shit. It showed
Well,
soft porn.
it's more
now. Did you ever see? Because we all know we all stayed up way later than we should have been sitting there trying to watch this shit. So, have you ever seen soft gay porn on Skinamax back in the fucking 90s and 80s? Has any of you?
either
We're all children-
either
we're-
way,
We're all children of the 90s.
you're
have you ever
you're
seen it?
attracted to what you are.
Because I haven't.
You're attracted
Until
to what you are.
recently.
I understand
So, yes,
that.
I mean, you can program people that.
I should have pulled the clip I
Yeah,
watched
that's-
earlier.
I don't think that's entirely possible at all. I don't think you can program anybody's sexuality.
I don't think so.
MK
George,
Ultra.
what was it when you were growing up that made you realize
Nothing.
that
And
you
I was
liked
even
dick?
Steve, and that's the point. I was attracted. I have no idea why. I remember being in the 4th grade and watching Captain Planet. You ever remember Captain Planet? Captain Planet. Yeah, he's our hero. Gonna bring pollution down to fucking zero, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
you
but
like
yeah,
them
right.
abs,
yeah.
right?
I know, right? But the
remember
thing
the
is,
cock on that
there
dude?
was
It was
a
chiseled,
male.
Yeah, right. You remember the
It's a
cock on that dude?
cartoon. I'm in the 4th grade. I haven't
No
reached
Diddy, but that
puberty.
dude
I
was
don't know what
Right.
know what sexuality really is. I haven't reached puberty yet, right? I'm somehow attracted, whatever that means. And to this day, I talked to a therapist about this. I don't know what this means, but I was attracted to this male character on the show. It's a cartoon. It's not a real person, right?
Well, sure.
Why?
Everybody liked Ariel,
That
the Little
wasn't
Mermaid.
taught to
you know?
me.
He didn't like Ariel.
My grandfather.
No, dude,
Well, hold
that
on,
bitch
hold
was
on, hold on.
annoying, dude.
May I
She was always in the
say,
industry.
because I like to put his name out there, may I say that my grandfather was Dr. Irvin Arkin. He was the chair of the theology department of St. Louis University for 35 years. He legitimately spoke 13 languages. I barely speak English, okay? And he spoke 13
Debatable.
languages. He spoke Coptic. He spoke Greek. He spoke Aramaic. He spoke Hebrew. He taught these languages. So I come from a very stern background, a very anti-gay background where it really is doom and gloom. I would throw to the table that homosexuality is incompatible with Judeo-Christianity and Islam. And is that not a problem? And it goes back to Steve's point. Isn't it all about ideology?
So when I want to reel this back to where I'm coming
No,
from,
don't
here.
unreel what I just reeled. I just reeled something.
I want to hear
talking about-
James' opinion too when he gets
Yeah,
there.
and I mean,
So if it's not such a big, you know what I'm saying, if you can't be taught this and right? So why do you need to bring it into schools? Why
is
do
in the
teachers have
schools.
That's facts.
Right.
no,
They're
you're trying. They're
indoctrination
trying.
of
Yeah,
them,
they're
dude.
trying to bring it into schools. They're
Yeah.
trying to make teachers.
so they're not, I don't know about make.
so-
I don't know what you mean by make teachers.
It's okay
do these things,
to-
but there are teachers that are teaching it because there
Are
is
there
this
black
in the
kids in
pulp
school?
culture now.
It's
So there
okay
are
to
children
understand.
with questions. There are legitimately children of an age where he was that saw Captain Planet and are confused about things that are in their real world that they can see all the time.
When he
These
was
are
a
things they can
teenager.
see.
It's fine
That
to
wasn't
let
a
them know
teenager,
that
he
it's
was a
okay.
child.
James, can I ask you though, seriously?
Captain
though,
Planet was out
like,
when we were children.
You say like it's being indoctrinated. Is it wrong to acknowledge an African American student if they are the minority part of that class? I don't think it is. So when I went to undergraduate school, I was going to become a high school history teacher till they told me there was no jobs, and then I was like, oh well, fuck, I'll go into something that's even less jobs. I'll go into film, right? All right. So the first thing I did was take African American history. The first thing I did out of the gate, because it was apparent that this information was denied to me my entire educational life. Okay, and I always say African American history is American history. It should be not a separate class. It is alongside, right? It is.
It does.
You
go hand in
cannot
hand.
separate. You
Careful
cannot
now,
separate.
critical race theory is coming.
You cannot separate. Well, I disagree with some of the tenets, and I agree that real issues should be taught. But to your point, there are gay kids in class. Okay, should it not at least be somewhat acknowledged? And then if we say yes, what is the bare minimum of that acknowledgement? Right? I mean, is it at least to admit that they are?
What it is? Is
And-
there not a
and
definition?
is that indoctrination?
Okay,
I
and
don't
then-
see that.
I believe
where-
it's just to say
where
that
does
it's
it-
okay to be.
Or just acknowledge that there are and move on with fucking arithmetic.
Yes,
I mean,
there are
but
gay
then-
people,
yeah,
and
But then
that's
why do
perfectly
we have?
fine.
Why do we have to vote on? It's okay for you to go get a sex change without parental consent.
Without your parental.
I don't like
That's
that.
not happening.
because we have people in this country.
It was literally just voted upon. That was what we
that was
just
not
voted
Amendment
on.
3.
That was not Amendment 3.
No.
not
Amendment
That
3, by
was
the
not
way,
voted
anyone
on, no.
not watching in Missouri, so there were many, there were many,
abortion ban
right,
amendment
the
on
abortion
3.
ban in Missouri was voted upon in this last election, and Missouri is a hard
The
right.
ads went
is-
wild.
Is a hard red state. It used to be a purple state. By the way, Missouri had the
did try to
best
step against
electoral record of any state in the union up until 2008. Missouri voted the right way. And by the right way, I mean they picked a president, and that was the president. Okay. So, and then they picked John McCain
They
in
kind of did that
2008,
this time too.
and they went
Just-
down. Right.
Yeah,
Saying
they did.
we're
That's
not-
what he was saying. That's what they got.
So,
Back to the point.
But Missouri is a very hard right state right now, and I know politicians personally in City Hall, and I tell them all the time, you have to. They're blue, and I say you're not going to get this to be a blue state. You're going to have to work for a hard purple for many years, and stabilize a hard purple before you even think about blue. Okay, that's how hard Missouri is, right? So. Perhaps it's just enough to say that in Missouri we voted, and unlike Florida. Do you want to bring this up, Joe, about Florida? Do you know?
Not
about this?
necessarily. We have a couple of things we have to get to, and we'll,
Oh, well, let me-
we'll
well,
wrap
distance from the
hold it.
original
Let me.
topic
I'll
again.
wrap and I'll stop. Well, no,
I was gonna say,
it was
we
abortion was
no, his topic was not on that.
I think religion was staunchly made as a form of government. I really do. And there are people that can argue this point left and right. I feel like, okay, well, everybody's raping and pillaging and blah, blah, blah. How are we going to get them to stop it? I don't know. Set a fucking bush on fire. Chisel some shit in a goddamn, whatever they could do. Make people believe in something, and let's create a form of government. I don't believe in the book. The
I'll
book
take
was
one,
written
too.
by man. I don't believe in it. I absolutely don't. I don't believe in religion. I think organized religion is an absolute fucking sham, and I will fucking die on this hill. And we could talk about that in a deeper deeper stance. But
When we come back.
Pope Francis just recently changed his positions on the LGBTQ plus minus divided by sign, whatever the hell, people. Sorry, I didn't mean that as disrespectful, but you know how the alphabet just kind of gets a little ridiculous after a while. So LGBTQ plus people. He has denounced laws that criminalize homosexuality. He has supported the baptism of transgender people. He has allowed the blessing of same-sex couples. He has privately met with many LGBTQ plus people in meetings. This is just some bullshit I just pulled off Google, but
And
I'm
debate.
assuming it's true.
Sounds like
As lo-
facts to me.
But so
And
now,
debate.
my question to you is the church just trying to gain more revenue by opening it up to a broader audience? But I'll leave you guys with that. Think about Pope Francis, what has actually happened, what happened with the actual Catholic community, and that's pretty interesting on its face. The fact that now what the Bible completely denounces now opens up, everything's fine, everything's good. Which is why I think it's just a bunch of
Look,
it's
the
a crock
Bible
of
is
shit.
always picked and
We could change it as our
Hold on,
will.
he's got to pee. Hold on.
Hold on.
He's got to
So,
pee.
All right.
If we're going to look back at Catholic
Hold
theology,
on, he's got to pee.
you have to understand.
He's going. Let him go. He's going. He's going. Let him go.
You have
You
to
guys can
understand
debate.
in
It's fine.
Catholic theology, there is an existence of evil. Evil is not a person. It is perpetrated potentially by someone, but it exists in this world without a body, and it can infiltrate into people who are not brought into God. That is theology in Catholicism. So with that evil rampant, you have to do everything that you can to draw as many people back into God as you can. So, is it propaganda to get people to come back to Christianity and Catholicism?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and yes,
but
and
it
the
is
story.
there
There's the
specifically
number
to
of-
save people from the evil that is being spread through the world.
Well, I think
you
this
have
Pope
to see
is well
this
to
and believe
recognize that evil is capitalism.
there are
Can I
people,
get in on this?
potentially,
Yeah.
there are people that are being turned gay. There are people that are being turned transgender by an agenda that is forcing and indoctrinating children by forcing it out there. That is evil being thrust upon the world by God, by the devil himself, in Catholicism to turn people around, to make it so that he takes over and the earth ends and we go into oblivion. It starts all over again. So we have to get people back. You have to get people to come back to you. You have to teach it away from them, right? You have to fix them.
we need to
So now
liberate.
we believe, liberate. We
need to
believe,
liberate.
we believe that they're okay. They're just fine. Come on back inside.
Okay, so-
we're gonna
well,
turn the
it's-
light
it's
off.
more complicated
Everything's
than
gonna
that.
be
I
great.
think it's a little more complicated than that. And do I
Well,
believe
that's
that?
my line.
I heard that somewhere. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I
where.
might have pulled. Never mind. But
Just a repeater.
He's taking notes, bro.
So I have arguments and questions about religion in general.
Sure. And
Okay.
This is
So-
going to get deep.
I
love
have
this.
some
I
answers,
love
not
when,
all.
I love
Watch
when it
this.
starts out like this.
Here,
Oh,
here,
man,
I
you have
really
no
I really
fucking
do. Like my
idea.
dick is so hard right
This
now.
motherfucker lives in a rabbit hole.
No,
Holy
please,
shit.
Please go ahead. No,
Here we go.
this is
I got
wonderful. This is wonderful.
I will do my
So-
best to entertain. He'll probably interrupt, and he probably won't.
No, I absolutely won't. I'll let you talk. I've been
no.
quiet all night.
I meant you. He'll interrupt you.
So-
or me.
I find some very convincing similarities to Greek mythology and to the Bible.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Okay, and what I find really weird is do you know Greek mythology at all?
Yes.
Like you understand how Hercules came about, correct?
I mean, these two probably know more.
How
I
Zeus
remember the
came
base
down
stories.
and he seduced a mortal woman and impregnated her, correct? And then you got Hercules.
It's what
and-
Zeus was best at, by the way.
right, exactly, because that was
did
his
impregnate
thing.
a lot.
That was his forte, by the way. It was
Right,
just impregnating women.
because
out of
Zeus liked
nowhere.
to have sex. Period. He was the king of the gods. He's the god of gods.
You
But
can
there's
take.
not a condom named after this.
Exactly. So my point being
There's
here
no Hercules.
is that if you take the story of how Jesus came about, and then the story of Mary. Now, Now, God came down and impregnated a mortal woman, Mary,
Makes perfect sense to me.
with Jesus.
I've seen it.
Okay, and then I mean, but there's more to it.
I see
than
no
that. Now,
logical
Hercules
flaw in
went
that.
through trials and he went through tribulation.
Absolutely.
You know,
The
to be
Iliad
able
and
to
the
go
Odyssey.
sit amongst his father that's in the stars, and that's sitting on Mount Olympus. So Jesus had to go through the same. Not the same things.
She was definitely a virgin.
But he was going through trials and tribulations to go sit with his father that's in the kingdom of heaven.
Sure.
So I have a real hard time trying to believe a story that I find that is like a recycled.
It is.
Because it's not about the story.
Yeah.
Because, like I was talking
do
about
tell.
way earlier in this conversation, is that it's about culture, right? So what the Christian culture is it's an evolution on these previous Greek cultures and on the previous Roman cultures that it emerged out of, right? So Christianity was a Roman resistance religion of a Jewish person and a Jewish sect in the imperial periphery, which was being heavily exploited by the imperial core that was absorbing most of the resources and advances for their own wealth, right?
What Star Wars is this?
This is Jesus Christ, the
This is how-
carpenter.
Jesus
Christ, the carpenter,
Jesus
who
Christ,
stood for the
carpenter.
working
Well,
people, who
actually-
went
well,
into
actually,
the
can I
temple and
intervene
flipped
there?
the tables
Because-
over the money changers.
Can I intervene?
Please do.
What was one thing that Jesus built?
Tables.
No, he didn't. Where in the fuck does it say
I was gonna
that?
say a chair.
Chalice?
They always said that his
Carpenter builds all
father,
kinds of
Joseph, was a carpenter.
He invented the wheel. What are you
Jesus
talking
was
But back-
a carpenter.
I-
It was a working
Joseph
man.
What did he
was a
build?
carpenter,
So,
yeah.
Look, it was a working
Anyway,
man.
I digress.
The son of a
Who talked
carpenter.
to and
Right.
represented
He
working
whittled wood
people.
really good.
He was the son of a carpenter. He was not a carpenter.
He was a
Right.
Joseph was a carpenter.
That's what I said.
You don't
Right.
be a
And so
son
they
of
do
a
not
carpenter
document
and don't know
well
how to
else.
whittle
They
wood.
just
Hold on,
document
guys. Hold on.
his-
Prove me wrong that dude didn't know how to whittle wood.
If you guys don't mind, hold on. Let me break it up a little bit. We seem to be going very, very deep into religion, which is fine. I mean, that's basically what it is. But you think about LGBTQ controversy versus religion. Okay, cool. We are on the subject of religion. I want to segue into.
Anal
Okay.
sex.
You gotta
Anal
let,
Where are we
sex.
going?
You
Is
gotta let us
anal
answer.
sex.
Wait, hold on. You gotta let us answer the Pope Francis question because that was a cliffhanger.
We got the fucking.
Oh, so like I
got the
walked away and
expert
took a
over here.
piss,
Yeah,
and then
we-
you guys
we
like
weren't
just
done
started
with it.
talking
We
about.
went on our own fucking tirade. We
were
don't.
working
I was
on
gonna
it.
say I
When you
wasn't
were
here.
gone, Joe, it was just like the wild fucking West over
dude,
here.
You're going to have to go back and see the past.
Well,
He
here I
likes
am.
Lucky Charms.
Yeah,
dude,
dude, you
Lucky
got to go back
I'm
and see
Frosted
the
Flakes,
past.
believe it or not.
Hold on, guys. All right. So here I am.
Honeycomb, man.
Here
That's
I am.
where
I'm
it's
back.
at.
I'm back. Everything's good.
no shit
So
about honeycomb.
Pope Francis basically changing his views and changing what Christianity should agree to or not. How do you guys feel about that? If I missed it, I did. I'm sorry. I had to tinkle. So
and you'll have to edit.
I think it's a
and then
crock
he
of shit.
talked and answered it a bit, and my answer is that Pope Francis is trying to maintain the culture of Catholicism.
Yeah,
right, and he's
absolutely.
trying to do that by bringing people in. He made an argument that it was
so bringing people
it's good
in
versus evil.
with things that were completely against the
it's just
Bible
trying
and
to bring
things that
stuff
should
in.
not be,
But,
and
like,
then
the-
all of a
it's
sudden
good versus
everything's
evil.
okay.
Look, they'll cherry pick whatever they need to from the Bible for any generation for what their power needs to be. That's
Which
not what's
pretty
important.
much
You put an
disavows their
ulterior
whole
motive in
No,
there,
no,
but I'm telling
they're
you,
trying
they're
to
just
maintain
trying to
a way
save
of
the
life,
world.
and they're trying to maintain a system of morality, and they're trying to figure out how to.
Well, their
do that.
system of
And
morals is shit once they change them.
It's
based
no,
on
no,
society.
It is.
No, it's not. It's
It
not
is a
because it's
fluctuating. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Just a quick question. It's a fluctuating morality, is it
yeah,
not?
yeah.
It's
of course.
full of
course it is.
shit
It's
once it's
adapting to the world
changed.
because look,
Is murder right or wrong? It depends if you're a Canaanite or not.
So
no,
is
no.
gay right or wrong?
It's totally true.
No, it really
absolutely.
is.
These people existed.
Yeah,
There's archaeological evidence for the Canaanites and the Amalekites and the Mennonites. Okay, there's archaeological evidence
Yes.
for them. Okay, it is explicit divine command theory that these people, to quote William Lane Craig, who I hate.
Yeah, I know.
I know. Travis, I hate
love
him.
him.
I hate him too. Trust me. But it is the apologetic defense. I think you'll admit that it is the Christian apologetic defense.
I'm not a Christian. You're not gonna
No, well, but I'm not either.
just
But it
looks like
doesn't matter
Jesus.
that we live in a country full of them, and they're making policy decisions right now.
That does matter. Yeah.
Okay, right.
And
So-
they firmly believe in their ideologies because of their belief.
It's not. They don't believe in it because of the Bible. They believe in it because they're part of a culture, and that culture picks and chooses what from the Bible it chooses to be relevant based on the power structure of that organization, which goes all the way up to the Pope.
Or how the people move.
Or how the people move.
Because we'll
and
change that at
I mean,
will.
the Protestant Reformation, we discovered that. And that was a little bit different, and it had some very different motives, but that was a big part of when usury stopped being such a big deal in the church. In 1311, the church declared that usury and this group of people doing it, this early pre-capitalism thing that was happening, where they were bending countries to their will, they fucking executed all of them. They issued a decree across the land and said, all these people that have been doing all this usury that we said in the Bible was this bad, they're all going to be put to death. You hear the Catholic Church saying today that all the usurers are going to be put to death? All the people that own all the student loan debt are going to be put to death? The Bible says you have to forgive debts every 7 years. I've been in student loan debt a hell of a lot longer than that.
But what about the? I mean,
Good point.
I mean, you got the Crusades, man. You got people who are all like,
The Crusades was the early proto corporation, right?
So
the organization that did the Crusade was the Knights Templar, and they were an early proto corporation.
And the Church of England.
and they got paid handsomely.
They did help.
They got
wielded-
paid handsomely.
And the line was finally crossed when they raided a Christian city for a Muslim ruler to get money to fund the crusade because they were so obsessed with power that the religion stopped mattering. It was about the power and not about this. And that's when the church finally stepped in and said, hey,
Look, you're fucking
shit's
up.
going too far.
You're fucking up, bro.
I mean, 'cause
And that
I'm really
stayed in
glad.
place all the way until the 1500s when capitalism started to take off and they stopped caring about usury. The Protestant Reformation kicked off, and all of a sudden, it's the biggest thing in the world. It used to be the biggest deal. They hunted these people down like dogs all across Europe. It's where we get the myth of Friday the 13th. It's where we get so much of our media and our history from. So it was a huge deal. But now it's everything. Everything is usury. It's what every single aspect of our life is based on from birth to death.
So you don't
I'll
think,
agree with that.
I'm sorry, this is a crazy diversion. So you don't think Friday the 13th is a matter of historical probability?
I feel like
No, it
we're
is.
rabbit holing
Okay,
at this
yeah.
point,
I
guys.
knew he was
I
going
really
there.
do.
I knew
No,
that
it would have been
his eyes
it would have
flicked
been
a certain
been
way.
interesting, Joe. It would have been interesting if he had said no. I promise you. I promise you, it would have been completely fascinating.
Okay. So, thanks for joining. As I sit here and edit this, I find myself contemplating when is enough, and I'm going to go ahead and call it right now. So if you've made it this far, please give this channel a subscribe, maybe a like and a share, tell some people about it. I'd appreciate it a lot. We'd appreciate it a lot. And stay tuned for episode 6, where we dive deeper into this conversation and things get more intense, more alcohol infused, and lots more lollygagging to come ahead. So, yeah. Thanks for tuning into the Madhouse Show, and we'll see you next week.